Hi everyone, it's Tim and Kat here, and this is our combined June and July news update. So why is it a combined June and July update, Kat? You can tell us.
Because we went on holiday.
Yeah.
And going on holiday for a week apparently throws us all out. And no, it happened at the end of June.
Yeah, it would have been the week we would have recorded the June update, but we went on holiday, so we didn't get around to it. So we figured we'd combine the two.
Yeah.
So with that, it's time for the news.
So the first news item is back from May 22nd, when we had the gas hob removed and an induction hob put in instead, or as Tim likes to call it,
It's a science hob.
Science hob.
Because I think it sounds better. So this is my campaign to get induction hobs renamed science hobs.
I don't think it's going to catch on, if I'm honest.
Spread the word.
But I do like it.
I think it makes it sound more futuristic and, modern or whatever. So, because nobody really knows what an induction hob does. So call it
magic.
Yeah. Well, science, you see. That's why it's a science hob.
It's really good anyway, is the answer. It's not gas. And it's working really, really well. So we might do a bit of a video about that at some point. But
if we get around to it, it's pretty low down on the priority list. But we're really enjoying it. It works pretty well. So far so good.
That takes us on to the second news item that happened on the 1st of June.
Well, we got the gas cut off, which if you've been watching my previous videos, you probably noticed. I put out a little video about the gas meter getting basically removed from the outside of the house, which means that we no longer have to pay the standing charge, which is fantastic. So there's no gas coming into the house. The last thing that we needed to get done this summer is the towel rails, but we've not yet sort of done that. But that's something that we're investigating. The replacing the gas hob with the induction hob or the science hob was the sort of the main thing that we needed to get done, before we could get rid of the gas. And so now we've done all that. The gas was safely removable, so we got that done. And all good.
Yeah, that felt like just a really big step. Really, it was such a little thing to get done, but just felt like a really major moment. So that was very cool.
Increases my life expectancy by quite a bit, because if you've watched some of one of my previous videos where I talk about why I personally want to get rid of gas, in addition to all the other good reasons, I actually can't smell gas. So getting the gas removed means that I'm much less likely to come home one day and switch on a light in the midst of a gas leak and blow myself up. So I feel a bit more comfortable with that. So.
And if you think that's not very likely, well, it probably isn't.
No, it's not very likely.
But we did have an occasion fairly early on when we moved into the house, and actually there was a slight leak of gas into the garage, because there was an issue with the gas, so it was a whole thing. But actually, I walked in there and I could smell gas, and immediately went, "Oh, hang on, this isn't right."
Yeah, it's a real thing.
It is a thing.
Yeah, I was a bit worried about it, but now I'm no longer worried about it. So happy
that's
days.
All good. And as you say, then next stage is getting the
towel rails.
Looking at towel rails, so you're looking at that. And getting the radiators removed, so that's on the list.
We've started that process.
As well.
We just need to get. We've got a company coming out to quote for us, but it's taking ages to even get a quote. So
we might look at.
Yeah, we'll look at a few more options.
Some more options as well. I mean, that's not so relevant to anything else, but
it's
just nice.
It just means it will tidy up the walls basically, and we can make use of that space, which would be good. So.
Yeah.
Again, it's nothing sort of too critical, but just be nice to do it.
To do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's next?
So, well, as I say, we were on holiday, and while we went on holiday for a week, we were down on the Devon coast. We did not take the EV.
No. Took my other car.
We thought that might just be a stretch too far for us right now. We definitely want to be looking at doing that in the future, but didn't want to kind of dive into that this time round. But we did take the car on a longer trip. Again, you might have seen the video that we put together
from Gloucestershire to Norwich. That was middle of June, wasn't it?
Yeah. I suggest we probably don't need to go into it too much here, because you can go and watch the video.
It's become one of our more popular videos, actually. Not really sure why. I think possibly because a load of anti-EV people discovered it. So we're getting a lot of anti-EV comments. It's just the way it is, I guess. Strange, really.
But a lot of people finding value in that, I think, because it was just, again, that real world showing exactly what it was like for us, and it was pretty straightforward. So despite what some people thought the video
did have a lot of nice comments saying, thanks for showing us what it's like to do it. people who are thinking of getting EVs or people who have not yet done a long journey in an EV, sort of not knowing what to expect. So that was the whole point of doing that video, really, was to show what it's like, you know, in the real world, so that you know, it's not so mysterious or scary. So hopefully that helped a few people, which was nice.
Sounds like it did. So yeah, that was really nice to know. We had our first power cut.
Oh yeah.
And
wow, that feels like a long time ago now.
Use of the chunky switch.
Yeah, we were able to use the emergency power supply that we've got wired in. We've got a manual switch, as you may have seen in the video, but it worked perfectly well. So that was cool. We were able to run for the hour that the power was out in the neighbourhood.
Whilst everyone else was running around like headless chickens.
Yeah. Well, we did offer people they could come round, but nobody took us up on the offer.
Well, we said emergency because there are now on our estate's fairly new, but there are about 40 or 50 houses which we couldn't really support. No. We couldn't really support everyone at the time, so we were like, look, if anyone's desperate, we have got some power that you can come and have, but didn't really need everybody descending just because they wanted a cup of tea.
No, luckily it was only an hour long, so it was fine. But yeah, because I work from home, having that sort of functionality is really useful for me. So it was very handy.
So that was really good.
Yep.
We had some neighbours come round to talk about solar, which is, as I say, we're on a fairly new estate. We've been here for 2 years now, but it's still ongoing, still people moving in. And we're trying to spread the word as much as possible to people. And lots of people are saying, oh, yes, I'd quite like to get this, that and the other, get solar panels. We're interested in that. But no one's actually done it so far.
No, lots of our neighbours have asked how it's going. So, you know, I've shared some of the stats videos with them to show that, you know, it's being pretty effective at saving us some pretty chunky money each month, and I think a lot of them are keen, but obviously it's a big outlay, so it's quite a big commitment. And but this is the first time we've actually had people who are sort of, they seemed genuinely interested and
really keen to go for it. Started getting quotes and just wanted to come and have a look at everything we'd got and see.
I think they were around for about 2 hours, weren't they?
So we probably bombarded them with a whole load of stuff, but they said it was really helpful.
And they were quite invested already. They'd got a couple of quotes, so it was nice for them to have a bit of context and then to talk through some of the options to see whether or not the quotes they were getting were sensible and that sort of thing. So I think that was helpful for them.
That's a nice thing about the community where we live, and it's nice to be able to share that information. Whilst you can't do this sort of thing for, as you said, for everybody out there.
Well, that's partly why we've got the channel, is to show our setup.
We can't offer individual.
No, but we can't
for everybody. But for neighbours, it's really nice to be able to do that. So if it's, friends, family, neighbours, it's nice to be able to share the information in a bit more of a detailed way and answer their questions. So
hopefully they took some useful stuff from that.
And the last one before we move on to the questions is that we did a little visit, didn't we?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so a lot of you who watch my channel almost certainly already watch Gary Does Solar.
If you don't, you should.
If you don't, you should. I'll put a link to his channel in the description. But yeah, Gary's brilliant. He actually, turns out he only lives an hour away from us. And in fact, only 10 minutes away from my sister. So we were visiting my sister for a party they hold each summer. And so I messaged Gary and said, oh, by the way, we'll be literally driving past your house. Are you around? Are you around? And can we drop in? And he very quickly got back to us and said, yes, that'd be brilliant. So we popped in and we visited him for a couple of hours.
Gosh, we were there for 3 hours. Yeah.
It was a brilliant little chat. He showed us all his kit and everything, which was great.
Yeah, so nice to just sort of compare notes.
Yeah, especially on YouTube, and sort of how it's gone. His channel's doing phenomenally well. He's got way more subscribers than me, but
very well deserved.
Well deserved, of course, because his videos are so high quality.
He is absolutely the thoroughly nice man that he comes across in the videos. Yeah. So thank you to Gary and Saz for your wonderful hospitality. It was really, really lovely to come and meet you.
Yep. It was very pleasant. And we look forward to having them round to visit us at some point in the future, hopefully. If you're watching this, Gary, then just let us know when you want to come round.
Excellent.
Yep. We've got. If you see flickering, by the way, it's one of our lights seems to be a little bit intermittent. So just ignore the flashes if you see them.
It's a bit flaky. Do we need to do like an epilepsy warning at the beginning of this video maybe. Now? This is actually a bit.
It's hanging in there. One of the lamps seems to be a little bit flaky.
You might remember from a previous video where it just died on us and decided it was the end of the video.
Yeah. time for the questions then.
Indeed. And I've left one of our news updates for the question section because it kind of links into that, because we've had a couple of questions via email from David Cheffings. And it says, how's your air-to-air heat pump system faring during this hot weather spell? Well, it's not hot now, but it was. And have you used it as a cooling system?
So, good question. And yes, it's been very pleasant, in fact. We have used it very little, as it happens. In my most recent stats video, I showed that I think we only used it for about 5 or 6 days in the middle of June, when it got particularly warm. But for those 5 or 6 days, it was brilliant. So I've mentioned before, I work from home, and my office is east facing, so it warms up really quickly in the morning to the point where it gets quite uncomfortable. But when it gets above about 26 degrees, I can just stick on that one unit in the office and just take it down a couple of degrees, and that makes it much more pleasant, and I can actually do some work without melting. And then we can put it on in the lounge in the evening for an hour or so. And that was great. That just took the edge off just enough. But it used very little energy.
We really didn't have to have it on very much, and it's quite gratifying how little you need it, because it isn't something that we want to be wasteful.
No, absolutely.
With. So just being able to use it when needed, just to take a little bit off temperature,
and
really nice.
Not all the rooms either. So just the rooms that we were in at the time. That was all we needed. And stick it on for an hour or two before going to bed in the bedroom, and that just took the edge off and made it a bit more pleasant to sleep. But I then turn it off overnight because we don't need it obviously during the night. But yeah, all in all, we only used about 6 kilowatt hours.
It was crazy small, but it was so
basically
nice to have. Really was, and worked super well. So
looking forward to making use of it if it gets warmer again.
If summer comes back.
If summer ever comes back this year, but we shall see.
I don't know.
But it worked really well. So glad it was available for us to use.
And the other question from David was, would you review the recently launched Give Energy all-in-one system and gateway, or are you aware of anyone else doing such a review?
Well, this is a good question. So to do a review, I would probably need to actually use such a product. From the specs, I think it looks very impressive. Particularly the rate of charge and discharge is very high, which means that you can cover basically all of your house load. Even when you've got loads of stuff running all at the same time. It is an AC coupled system, which means it's really good for retrofitting to existing PV systems in much the same way. So the Powerwall is similar. The Tesla Powerwall is AC coupled. So that obviously there's pros and cons between that and the hybrid system that we've got. But overall, it would be the system I would recommend to people who are getting a new setup, because it's
what we would get. Probably.
I think if we were to do it again, we would probably go for something like that.
Not that we're not happy with what we've got,
no, absolutely.
But these things seem to be moving quite fast, and this does seem to be a really good option and good value for money.
It does look like really good value for money, and the gateway looks brilliant.
Yes.
Basically uninterrupted power supply. If there's a power cut, you wouldn't even notice it happening.
No, you wouldn't have to go and do what we did and flip the big chunky switch. I mean, fun as that switch is, I guess there is an advantage to it just doing it all seamlessly, so you don't have to worry about it.
So all in all, I would say it's the sort of product that makes it much easier to plug and play, if that makes sense. I think you probably need to do less managing of it. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but it's starting to head towards that sort of mass market kind of product, I think.
Making it a bit easier.
So if I had elderly relatives who were interested in looking into that sort of thing, that's
you're talking about my parents.
Yeah, I'm talking about your parents. That would be the sort of product I would recommend to them.
For
example. So it looks impressive. Although I can't tell you how, obviously, my first-hand experience of it, because I haven't used it. That said, if any of my viewers have got an all-in-one with Gateway and have had it for a month or two, please let me know if you would be interested in doing a little interview on the channel, because I would be very interested to quiz you on living with that system and your experiences of that. So get in touch with me if that's the sort of thing that you'd be keen to do, and we might host you on the channel as a little sort of interview podcast thing, if that's the sort of thing that you'd be comfortable with.
That'd be great.
So Is that all of the?
That is.
Is that all of the questions?
That's all of the news.
Cool.
All
So
the
yeah,
questions.
there weren't that many questions because I didn't do a call for questions this time because we had quite a lot of news items to cover. If you are interested in us answering one of your questions on next month's Q&A, drop your question into the comments on this video, and I will make a list of them, and we will cover them in the next video. And that will save me from having to put out a call, nearer the time, because what I typically do is put out a community post asking for questions, but not everyone sees those. So
And you have to remember to do it, and actually it's just going to be easier.
So it's probably
if
easier.
anything occurs to you at any point between now and the next
drop
time.
it into this particular
Drop it in the comments.
comment section, and I'll pick that up. I'm pretty good at monitoring the.
Or feel free to email if that's easier.
Or alternatively, find the email address on the About tab, which you'll find on the website version of YouTube. You won't find the email address if you use it on a mobile. For some reason, it doesn't show up, but it does show up on the desktop version of YouTube. So go to the About tab, find the little button that says contact email, and that will show you what my email address is, and you can get in touch that way if you have questions in the same way that David did in this particular situation. So that's all. Is that all the questions?
Yeah, we're all done.
That's all the news. I think we managed to keep that to actually less than 20 minutes. Amazing.
Oh my goodness.
Even though it was two months worth.
So you mean we've got about 10 minutes to just kind of waffle about something
normally,
now, like
normally
dish
we would
cloths?
just carry on about we would carry on for another 10 minutes, but
I think we might let the people go.
Let's leave it there for this month. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one, and see you next time.
Bye bye.